you get so exhausted, like that all you want to do is you want to create something else. You want to do something else. Just imagine like being assigned to some menial task, and like no matter what you get paid at some level, it doesn't matter. Look at Asmongold. The guy's clearing millions of dollars a year. He must be, compared to his YouTube and his subscriber count, but he's not happy. And you'll see this consistently across every broadcaster in the top levels. Pokimane is so successful. She's a multi-millionaire. She can afford everything, but money is not solving her problems. Hassan, money is not solving any of these problems. So it's not about that. It's not about that success. It's about identifying that there is some real struggle within streaming. Like, one of the worst things we do to broadcasters as a community, the worst things we do to broadcasters is we make them feel marginalized because they play video games, and we make them feel like, oh, because you play video games, you should be grateful. You should be ecstatic that you make money this way. And like, that undermines the reality that this is a really difficult job that is super duper time consuming, has an enormous amount of negativity compared to other jobs. Broadcasters don't usually get to do what they want to do. Even if they start streaming a game like Path of Exile because they love the game, playing that game for thousands of hours, 12 hours a day, being a balloons only streamer or whatever, right, is exhausting. It's so much, and you have to imagine that. Not being able to stream what you want is like one of the number one things that is so difficult, and so it causes broadcasters to get into this place where they just get mentally exhausted, and they can't keep going. At some level, you are inevitably going to run into this. I'm sorry to say, if you're a female broadcaster, it's guaranteed. One of the reasons why why VTubing is taking over and becoming such a prominent thing is because VTubers get to be more anonymous. So people like Silvervale and Momo have talked about the difficulty of like the imagining trying to be a girl and presenting yourself on stream and having people look at you in all these ways. Not only is that extremely difficult to a person's self-image, people like Lily Pichu have talked about this a lot and have created VTuber avatars so that sometimes they can just relax and they can just kind of chill out and run on a cool. And I love the VTubing phenomenon. Like, it's so awesome that's like one of the main undercurrents that's empowering women right now is VTubing. It's awesome. It's so cool that we have that.
In your opinion, what's wrong with the English VTuber community? Please keep it civil here. This is a place for open discussion. Believe it or not, your favorite VTuber is a real person with real feelings. I see so often people either placing VTubers on a pedestal or saying some really disgusting things to them, often sexual. Both of these can be really uncomfortable. Hi, I'm Duskbyte of the Fluffbyte Entertainment System, and streamers have been having a rough go of it. And VTubers are streamers, but there are issues that are given more gravity within the VTuber community. We are VTubers, but we're pretty small. We have our foot in a lot of communities, and it spreads us pretty thin trying to get noticed in each of them. However, we were very interested in VTubing from a philosophical perspective. And when Drizzle became a VTuber last year, well, she made an essay about it, trying to figure out what it meant to her, how hard it was to do it, and what it meant for all of us in our personhood, what people's relationship with their models were, and how idol culture affected them. Now, we haven't made an essay in a while, and this is not an essay. And actually, we don't intend to editorialize too much on this. We just saw a thread on Twitter asking VTubers what do they not like about the community. And we preened over it and thought, I wonder how many people can see this. How many people would see this if it was platformed a bit more. Because thinking about the stuff that Devin Nash was saying about the state of streaming in general.
I have been thinking about this subject for what feels like so long, and so many other broadcasters have talked about it endlessly. What pushed me over the edge, I think, was Asmongold's recent video, where he posted what's really been happening, and Asmongold opens up about his life and future. He talks about the massive mental effect of streaming and how he needs to orient his life in a whole different way in order to be able to sustain broadcasts at the level that he does. We also see this from pretty much every significantly full-time creator. I mean, in terms of time invested. And this is not just from larger broadcasters, but also smaller broadcasters.
He did a video recently talking about all the problems with broadcasters considering parasocial relationships and how hard it is to be a streamer. Though he cares more about the top percentage of streamers, VTubers included. And although anyone can be a VTuber, big or small, it is kind of understandable that some people don't feel in the same community with someone like Pokimane just because they have a VTuber model.
People don't really acknowledge that your success as a VTuber largely depends on how much money you have. The richer you are, the better a PC, model, rig, layout, mic, etc. And that all impacts how people watch you in a huge way.
Especially coming in already from establishing a brand, and not establishing a brand as a VTuber. So some of the problems and issues of the VTuber community aren't as easily gleamed, even if you have a model yourself. And it's a very disparate community, divided up into lots of sub-communities. It's really a medium, less of a community. But it seemed valuable to chronicleize some of these things, because as opposed to building an argument based on all of them and creating an essay, it just felt right to let them speak for themselves for the most part, because they echo a lot of things that we've seen and experienced and heard other VTubers talk about in private, or just other content creators, because a lot of this isn't specific to VTubing only, but there are unique challenges, so we thought we'd highlight those. And in the process, maybe expose people to VTubers that they might enjoy based off of their opinions. And that's a little different than what we usually do, especially considering we don't agree with everything that's being said in this thread. But like I said, we want to let the community speak for itself in a way, or plenty of the disparate elements of it that just happen to be on Twitter and see this tweet and respond to it. Your sample size can only be so big. However, if you want to be part of the conversation, please add to the comments. We plan to do more videos soon, especially with Halloween coming up. Video essays are our passion, but we also do stuff like Let's Plays and just random takes on stuff that's happening in the world.
In your opinion, what's wrong with the English VTuber community? Please keep it civil here. This is a place for open discussion. I guess how much is influenced by the likes of HoloLive and other big agencies. I feel like VTubers are capable of nearly everything real tubers are, so I wish there was more variety than just game stream, art stream, karaoke stream, language. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure that there are VTubers who do content other than the ones listed above, but I would love to see more of them. I want to see stand-up comedy VTubers, anime Bo Burnham, VTubers teaching educational topics unrelated to VTubing, critics, etc. The fact that so many people associate great model equals great content and normal model equals bad. I've seen some amazing things from even PNG streamers, but most don't even give them a chance because there is no model. The need numbers to talk to me mentality is another one. I wouldn't say it's something wrong, but a big trap to fall into is thinking that it's one big united community. It really isn't. At the end of the day, it's a collection of smaller, with sub-communities which can and will conflict with other sub-communities if it comes to it. Toxic positivity, hold grudges, spread false information easily, call people talking about serious issue clout chasers. Will not call someone out if they have enough clout. Will unfollow anyone who doesn't support the biggest VTubers and VTweeters. Lots of stuff, Jusagi. This is an automated message. Sorry, you need to have at least 5,000 clout before you can get a verified Jusagi response. Please try again when you reach 5,000 clout. Honestly, this is more of a collective of people. We don't band together as often and decide to let what one looks like, or sometimes we don't even try to get to know one another better so we can know how well one synergizes before starting collabs or stuff. We aren't a community per se, but we are a collective of people who are willing to do stuff for one another. If anything, our community is a true community, as is a big collective of people that all want to meet others and talk about what kind of collabs and trades and art fights they want. Hell, when was the last time the entire VTuber community got together and made a huge activity that everyone can join in on? I most certainly don't remember it and have been wanting to see one for the longest time. Meanwhile, Art Fight 3 is happening as we speak. I wonder how Joy will get here. I think it's oversaturated. I think there's an entitlement problem. I think there are a lot of circle jerking clicks. I think we forgot that not everybody has to like you. I think in the end, it's just another internet community, and it will always have similar problems to the rest of the online communities. I think there are a lot of amazing content creators here, and that a lot of them are good people. And I think there's a lot of cutthroat, selfish people as well. I think we go from 0 to 1,500 miles per hour way too fast. Everything, just everything. At its core, the VTuber community suffers from the same thing entertainment as a whole does. Everyone is just a stepping stone for the big time. The amount of times I've been cast aside for friends, everything, just everything. At its core, the VTuber community suffers from the same thing entertainment as a whole does. Everyone is just a stepping stone for the big time. The amount of times I've been cast aside by friends for fame is astounding. Makes me sad, to be honest. Not necessarily a wrong here, but anyone who wasn't on the first mover advantage train, not utilizing the tools and lessons from general streamers of similar size that came before them. So many of the same mistakes made. Also collabing with non-VTubers. Want to see more of this. To be quite honest, we're always ready to cancel someone at the drop of a hat. Don't get me wrong, some people deserve it, but that mindset can get people who have done nothing wrong canceled and cause some undue stress. That's true for Twitter in general, unfortunately. I mean, there are a lot of things wrong to go into specifics, but every community has their issues, you know? Not every community is perfect, and believing it should be is a bad way of thinking. Everyone shapes the community, so we can all do better at making it less bad, you know? I know it's really didn't answer the question, but this is just how I felt on the matter, and I have a voice, so I wanted to say how I felt. A common line of thinking. If you don't follow these rules, you won't be successful. Be anime, be 2D, be uwu, etc. Then there's a dismissal of anyone not following those rules, and I think it stifles innovation and encourages a lack of personal authenticity in our work. Oh, also, there's a lot of predators and bad actors in this community because of the whole anonymity thing. It sucks. I tend to notice a chunk of people like to complain about the community as a whole, and how they don't like anything about it, and then just stay, sitting there on their high horse as if complaining makes them above everyone else. Might just be me not liking the personality type. I'm gonna go out on a bit of a limb here and say that there's nothing wrong with the community. I think what is happening is a natural part of any community's growth. People want different things, and communities naturally divide on those fracture lines. This could just be the fact that this is my first real dive into a creative sphere, but I have seen so many examples of people only using others to boost their numbers / make fake friendships. I don't even like the idea of networking because it's kinda sour for me. The way I see it, networking isn't about friendship so much as it is about establishing connections with other VTubers. And if you don't know what kind of connections you want to establish, it can feel pretty worthless. A lot. The fact that it's considered its own community at all, and VTubers see themselves as something different from other content creators, is just one of the problems. I think the biggest problem is the sole focus on collabs in the community. It leaves little room for individual growth for members as creators interact less with chat and more so with individuals they collab with. I think it gets to be too cliquish at times, and some of us exclude perfectly good streamers who aren't VTubers, and there are folks who just grow too obsessive over VTubers because of the inherent idol culture and parasocial aspects. The worst part to me is that friendship, a bond meant to transcend all fates and times, meant nothing to many. They enjoy you while you are happy. They'll tell you an idea is good, but will never support that idea. Never lift you up while you are down. It is disheartening. People don't really acknowledge that your success as a VTuber largely depends on how much money you have. The richer you are, the better a PC, model, rig, layout, mic, etc. you can get. And that all impacts how people watch you in a huge way. It's happened twice to me now that I've tried to earnestly make friends in a looking for friends thread, only to see them ignore anyone below an arbitrary number and go for the big targets. The worst thing is that I also saw the strategy work out for them follows wise. To clarify, I don't begrudge them for their numbers, really, but it kind of makes one think twice about whether others will see you as a potential friend, colleague, or stepping stone. Idolization and objectification. Believe it or not, your favorite VTuber is a real person, with real feelings. I see so often people either placing VTubers on a pedestal, or saying some really disgusting things to them, often sexual. Both of these can be really uncomfortable. Yes! I see so many of my favorites objectified and sexualized, it's so uncomfortable. Seconded. That concern actually influenced a lot of my attitude on designing myself. I don't want to deal with a bunch of people doing that to me. I tend to back myself away from things, so I don't see a lot of drama. However, I do find a lot of VTubers lacking professionalism where needed. A lot of people don't realize the impact your social media presence can hold. If you grow in the future, it can be harder to branch out if your content revolves around something that targets others in a negative way. I know this doesn't apply to people who do it for fun or hobby. To me, people focus on drama. Yeah, if there's a problem pointed out, sure, but there's so many things that shouldn't even reach the light of day because it's so pointless, lol. Also, an English VTuber fan thing I have a problem with is valuing aesthetic thirst over content. Okay, here's a little something for you to chew on that last point. If you're looking for a VTuber, you don't know them until you watch them. If the design doesn't appeal to you, you won't last enough to become interested in the content. It's unjust, but it's how it works. 100% agree with this. It's just unfortunate that the magnets are hypersexualized. Femboys, big boobies, lolies. Nothing wrong with expressing yourself in those ways, of course, just unfortunate. But still in total agreement with you. Yeah, it's rather unfortunate that those attract VTuber fans. In a sense, it shows the people that like ecchi anime also watch VTubers. But it is sad when you don't want to be horny and just want to be happy. Treating clout as more important than real relationships. While everyone wants to grow, you can't just step on others and use people for views, follows, likes. There's always someone that you've never heard of that's tweeting a bad take on something, then it gets labeled as English VTuber drama, which just stains everyone's view of the community. That people think it's a single community. A lot of disappointment comes from people expecting one big group of similar thinking creators. It's like saying all writers are and should be the same and write the same just because they are writers, or reduce a country to just demonyms. Feels more like a fandom and less like a community. Oh yeah, and the extreme aversion to actually saying what is going on versus just vague tweeting. Please, I am not Sherlock Holmes. Tell me what this is about. People treat VTubers, English or otherwise, as things rather than people. I'm still annoyed about the Australian broadcast straight up saying, these are not real people. And I get he was probably referring to the avatars, but they still are real people behind them. The big don't be a VTuber if you can't get yourself a live 2D model. VTubing is for the rich. Like what? I'm a VTuber because it's for fun, 1, and 2, I'm trying to pay student loans. I haven't heard anyone say this verbatim, but this is the exact vibe I get wanting to get into VTubing. Honestly, I think it might be over collaboration. I see too many people consistently streaming in a group rather than individually, which means they aren't able to grow themselves or a community because they're concentrating too much on the collaborators in the chat. I see the point, but there's also parts of a VTuber you will never see unless they interact with them on stream beyond just talking to their chat. Taka's bar is a great example of this. All these characters meeting up and hanging out, and unknown chaos and comedy ensues. That is quite true, there's definitely a balance. And honestly, Takahaka's streams are geared towards this. And this is something he set forth to do to host people as they were coming to a bar. I'm referring to people who have this constant need to stream with others. Most issues aren't VTuber specific. The biggest problem for me is off VTubers in particular is the segregation. PNG tubers don't count, Vroid, Live2D, baby VTubers, etc. Every person works hard, even if they do in other ways in Hololive or VShojo or just have less money invested. Honestly, I believe we should all focus on being our best, looking out for each other and lifting each other up, not putting each other down. I believe we can all work together to be the role models to people who aspire to be VTubers or streamers. At the end of the day, we're all streamers, regardless of whether they identify as a VTuber or not. I believe we can learn from each other, you know? We all are bound to make mistakes. It's how we learn from our mistakes that counts. Man, I just want it to be normal to stream/collab with non-VTubers and not hear about some drama every 10 seconds on Twitter. Is that too much to ask? I feel like that's becoming too much for me to ask. I think the biggest problem is automatically believing someone with bigger numbers when they're an abuser. Drama, loads of drama. Are we here to have fun and making content for our fun, or fight each other? Like the real world, with the only difference of having an avatar? VR chat exists for a reason. I can't put this in a way that won't piss people off, but it's incredibly superficial. All the support and positivity people like to talk about feels like lip service when it never goes beyond farming Twitter interactions and everyone's ready to cancel each other in an instant. Not enough frogs! Thank God you're here. Horny. Horny is the real problem. Honestly, expecting VTubers to be a community. We're all coming to this from our own lives and experience. It's important not to assume someone will understand your POV because they are also a VTuber. VTubers are people. People are different. Appreciate and respect the difference. Which in reality, this community feels like VTuber high school. I would say college, but it feels like even college has less drama than mudslinging. The rampant flirting when it's not really welcomed is a really noticeable issue I've seen. A lack of discipline, narcissistic personalities, and no direction. To be honest, it's not my cup of tea, but I'm in it, sort of. Having your voice be spoken around here when it comes to takes on the drama occurred. The moment an opinion people don't agree with, one person starts mentioning how awful this person is, then everyone else jumps on the bandwagon without taking the time to properly hear it out. I think it's big group problems. In my experience, the bigger the group, the more bad apples that can sneak in. And then there's people like me who are sniffing around for validation, not chasing clout per se, but wanting to be noticed, so we jump on the bandwagon. Not necessarily wrong, but it's easy to feel discouraged when you don't get as much success streaming as you do tweeting. This is because the English VTuber community is all streamers, so we don't usually have time to watch everyone we follow. We have to find non-VTuber viewers. If I were to pick one, it would probably be envy. I see a lot of people saying that they're not good enough and compare themselves to others basically, or bad scenarios where it can lead to problems. Our dependency on platforms that we hate yet we refuse to move to other platforms. I see people talking every day about how much they hate things that Twitch and Twitter are doing, yet we all stay here because we can't seem to band up and move our community somewhere else. I mean, honestly, straight up just our refusal to go outside of our bubble, even if we don't move, so to speak. We just don't even attempt to expand our reach. You don't really see a VTuber community on, say, Instagram or Facebook. It very much feels like a Twitter club. It begins to make you feel as if you can't fit in with the average Twitter community, then you don't belong in the VTuber community, and it kinda sucks. That's because of the nature of platforms. Most platforms are terrible, but Facebook specifically caters to millennials and older, skewing towards the older. Instagram is also a pretty bad platform for what VTubers are since its focus is more on photography. See, but photography isn't just photography, it's images. You can put model pictures and art on there, also videos. Their reels are similar to TikTok. It can actually be a great place to put clips and make little meme videos for, put music videos, etc. But nobody bothers. In fairness, Facebook is a good deal more slimy than Twitter or Twitch. That's totally fair. It's just the first example platform I can also think of. There's this if you're not with us, you're against us mentality sometimes. It feels more like high school and I'm too old for that shit. It's a toxic ocean bathed in beautiful sunset. Seems to suffer from all the same things as oversaturated entertainment / creator community. I don't really think it's a problem. We aren't a monolithic group as much as we used to be a while ago. But that's okay, we're figuring out our own voices. If anything, it encourages us to be ourselves, no matter how normal, atypical, or controversial. Change is the spice of life. Lewd. Way too lewd. The list is too long for a series of tweets, to be honest. The problem is, it's treated like a community instead of what it really is. Creating content with an animated avatar, any kind of content, any kind of avatar, making something so unrelated to community opens the door for gatekeeping, social hierarchies, and fabricated rules. Agreed, it's basically anonymous streaming but with animated facecam. To be honest, it doesn't even have to be anonymous. Plenty of VTubers use a combination of facecam and avatar or otherwise, not being anonymous since before the concept of VTubers was popularized. You're right, some do, but the original point of VTuber model is so it's not your face, right? If you want to do a reveal on the side, you can? Maybe I'm wrong. No, the point of using an avatar is literally just about that you want to use an avatar. The idea that it was about hiding one's face came later. The first wave of VTubers were VR enthusiasts and artists who like using avatars as a form of creativity rather than secrecy. Damn, that's dope, didn't know that, thanks. Yeah, you can find some of the older content if you dig for it. It's really cool seeing how 3D models revolve around old school VR and 2D models evolved from basically video game character art rigs. Being a former game dev with an interest in, but no budget for lol, VR, I saw the whole thing unfold with a front row seat. That's super cool, thank you. It's mad how people use tech for new stuff. Totally, no matter how much I complain about the community, I'll never stop being excited about the technical side of virtual avatars and the ingenuity of it all. People need to stop deeming whether or not someone else is an actual VTuber. Everyone has different conditions, limitations, and paths to success. You are not defined by someone else's perception of what you do. If you want to be a VTuber, do it. Too long didn't read? Focus on yourself. Horny has become a personality now. Lots of people saying toxic positivity, but more specifically, love bombing is a big problem in the community. It's great having a supportive community, but when you get nothing but love and support as a newcomer, it's very easy to grow addicted to VTubing in an unhealthy way. Larger VTubers, VTweeters, subpar takes shaping the culture of what it means to be a VTuber while half of them only stream once a month. It's not a community anymore, lol. Been saying this for months. There's far too many differences between the different sides. It's like calling everyone that streams part of a streaming community. This is more of a collective of different niches. This is more of a collective of different niches that's presented through digital format. The idea that you should or shouldn't have to follow someone back if they're a small VTuber, and you're a small VTuber. I'm still small, but while I was at less than 100 followers, I grew into this mindset that I have to support everyone by at least following them back, and it sort of became a kind of toxic positivity that doesn't really benefit anyone but the numbers shown on the Little Bird app. Drama over Hololive. A lot of us love them, but there's so many people that have this hatred for them born from nothing. Hololive is loved because their talents are good. You don't like them? That's fine. Don't disrespect them. They did start this. You're in their space. This really goes for corporate VTubers in general, but Hololive gets to be the punching bag most of the time. Not enough assets have dark skin tone variations. For example, with that wearing your boyfriend shirt trend, someone other than the original artist had to make recolors. Real talk, when someone with smaller numbers gets put to the side for someone with larger numbers, I've seen it happen a few times to friends with things they've commissioned, and it's really frustrating that just because you don't have the following or clout, you're kinda shit out of luck. Recently, a lot of people seem to be opposed to the idea of making friends, and act like you have to prove yourself worthy instead of just being friends. I feel like a huge chunk of the community is just way too emotionally charged, and simple disagreements turn into huge fights way too easily. It's like people are itching to start yelling over something that ends up being honestly very silly. Too many people seem to think that because they followed you on Twitch, they suddenly have the right to dictate what you do off stream. The real problem I see is everyone is doing it for money, and they feel entitled to that money because of how much they spend on their model or equipment. And I see people with less than 100 followers already getting payouts or complaining they aren't able to make rent this month. Not sure if it's unpopular to say, but it's way too much like high school. A lot are already established friend groups or cliques, and it can be hard to make friends because most have expectations, and most will push you out to make you not feel welcome. And some love to start drama and talk behind others' backs. Basically, in a nutshell, there's zero proper communication, and also doesn't seem like adults while they claim to be. Have to agree here, but it's also present in the German VTuber community a lot. There are a lot of established groups and cliques who will push you away. However, there are also many adults, friendly and decent people. These are, however, most of the time the quiet ones. I think the anonymity VTubing is a pretty bad double-edged sword. Staying anonymous is a great way for a lot of people who want to work jobs where you can't be wild on the internet. But I know of people VTubing right now that will run out of other streaming venues, with good reason. There's a big one for me. I basically need to be anonymous because of my job, but I know abusers are using the cover of a VTuber persona to harm people. Ugh. I thought for some time how I would phrase my reply, because it's not just about VTubers, but Twitter in general. Basically, I don't want to voice my opinion because it might ruin my entire life. Completely bluntly, I don't know if it's just me, and I feel like I may be coming off as somewhat of a Puritan, but I feel a big pressure to go more for content focused on branding and such, rather than just, I'm here to play video games with people. Like, don't get me wrong, this is most likely a me thing, because I get weirdly uncomfy when it comes to making a brand because I don't feel it's something that I'm able to do while staying authentic to the ways I want to portray myself. But damn, it's difficult to stick to one thing. Like, I want the ability to represent myself in different aesthetics, and it feels like I can't successfully do that unless I focus on making a brand for myself first, which takes away a lot of that spontaneity for me. Standard social media behavior against people who may or may not have done wrong, causing problems in the name of obtaining clout, serious toxic positivity, alienation because you're not doing things other VTubers are doing. The worst gatekeeping that covers almost all aspects of being a VTuber, from the type of model you use to literally what content you produce. If you're not active at every second of the day, people will leave, and if you overwork to maintain those people, they'll leave anyway. Simp culture is also causing some of the worst divides I've seen in the decade of being a content creator. They jump to conclusions, don't read both sides, and defend their waifu in the name of getting some free parasocial smooches. Hell, VTubers even use them as weapons. I think what's worse is that the massive anonymity has caused legit harm. I've had countless DMs of people telling me how I'm a big fat liar because I don't sound Scottish but claim to be so, or how I'm just clout chasing because I'm trying to find a design that suits me. I do miss the fish, but if that brings out yourself better, by all means go for it. Honestly, if it weren't for the fact that my model artist ghosted me and blocked me, and the fact that I can't afford to pay for another one, I'd still be the fishbowl knight. I genuinely miss it more than anyone. Oh, so that's what happened. Sorry to hear that. I feel the issue with VTubers is that most VTubers feel the need to follow every trend or change the character in order to fit in, when in reality you should just be you. Trends are not important, and you should be happy with how you present yourself. Also, it's annoying when people decide one VTuber's business is theirs and think they should micromanage or gatekeep them for not fitting what their ideal mold is. Inclusivity duplicity. The same people who preach about VTuber community being opening and welcoming, more often than not, will often be outright vitriolic to anyone who doesn't agree with them, or worse, try to get them deplatformed. I think it's hard to imagine something original when you're deciding if you're say still, lewd, etc, etc. I'm guilty of it as well. To me, grifters that hate the anime community trying to change the VTuber community, which is anime adjacent, into their image. The same people being anti-gatekeeping while trying to push people out from things that have existed long before they were even born. This is not only a community to become famous or have a channel for your moolah, it's also a community to create friendship, to feel comfortable with yourself, and find people that want to be friends with you and respect you. But as any other RP community, you have the extremes. It really is an RP community. It really is an RP community. Even if many have a persona close to their real self, all the same problems I've seen in previous RP communities are all present. But many of the good qualities are here as well. Made lots of friends already because of VTubing. Heart. For me, I feel that a lot of people are always chasing to get bigger and make their thing a full-time job when they don't have the means to do so, causing them burnout when they feel they aren't getting where they want to. Despite what people consider wrong with the community, to be honest, it's pretty normal. The VTuber community is just like any other online community. And as it grows, there will be people whose morals and ideals clash, as well as a variety of personalities, some less savory than others. A lot of gatekeeping problems have already been covered here. Gatekeeping is still a big issue. People are using others as stepping stones, being their friend for personal gain, entitlement, clicks, and attitude towards those outside of their groups. I'd say the need for growth because it lends to an unhealthy relationship with streaming. Some of us want to stay smaller, or just trying this as a hobby and not want to make it. So everyone just talking about number go up is very bad. That some, not all, viewers believe we need to keep immersion. I talk about my personal life, I'll show my face. Does that make me a bad VTuber? No. It's just how I run my stream. I remember someone getting attacked for actively posting selfies, which I commend them for. Like, I stream because it's fun, I VTube because it's fun, and I love the community of fellow VTubers I've met. But it doesn't mean I have to be 100% all in. If someone is, amazing! I personally cannot, but it's cool to see. Just don't get mad if someone else doesn't do it. I haven't encountered anything yet. I'm sick of the horny. It's fine when you also have a personality to go along with it, / something else to offer. But if your only trait is thirst trapping, then I don't know. It just seems cheap to me. And I feel bad for being a hater, but like, it's just so exhausting for me. And repetitive. This was probably said many times throughout the thread, but I would say the idea of clout / fame. You can meet people who seem like they want to be friends and build real relationships until you get tossed to the curb whenever they get a bigger following. I know not everyone is like this. I'm just referring to whoever falls into said category. The goal, in my personal opinion, should be to make friends and enjoy the experience, create some memories, but the idea of fame and climbing the trends to clout, the possible idea of creating something you can enjoy, and pushes the mindset of, maybe if I interact with this person, I'll get more views / follows. Being ignored or rejected for collabs because you're not as big as other VTubers. Too many of them were born / live on the wrong continent. Not gonna lie, sometimes they're really helpful and sometimes not. Or, well, this is kind of cause I am selfish. When for no reason someone gets the most out of attention and support, and the others get none. But I don't know, as I said, I'm very selfish and get upset by stuff like that, so yee. Some people just need to live and let live. This ain't saying you shouldn't call out some people interacting with you in a way you don't like and they repeatedly keep doing it. I mean, there might be things that you put off instead of engaging with, then do it with them. I got a couple of pet peeves myself, but I'm not gonna stop people from doing it. The audience or the people that follow them with decide if they're right by if they continue to support those people or not. Oh, quick advice, mute or block. Some people will read too much into it. I hate it when people forget that VTubers are actual people. Too many normies. The fan base, if anything. Vtubing was meant to be an escape from the cruel world of the real life. Now with more people with different opinions and backgrounds coming in, it's bound to cause conflicts. Unfortunately, this resulted in returning back to what we're trying to escape from. I'm only a casual viewer, not a streamer, but I've seen a lot of people complain about, well, complaining, as if every issue has a simple fix, like, if Twitch sucks, move to YouTube. It's like telling a kid getting bullied in a school to move. It's not easy to just pack up shop and open somewhere else. You can't expect people to give up their hard work and start over because some corporation suits don't know how to manage their site properly, nor can you expect every fan to move with them. The constant callouts and cancel culture over personal disagreements that should remain in private because the general public really doesn't need to know or be involved in it, since it's none of their business. Let's get spicy. Content creation should not be your only form of, nor should it replace socialization. Can you make friends as a content creator? Yes, definitely, absolutely. But if you're a content creator, your priority should be making content. Content creation is not a social club. Yes, dish out the healthy life advice. LMAO! I saw another really good take on this question about how, like, being chronically online degrades your social links. And since VTubing is an online community, it's not uncommon for it to have the kinds of communal issues that arise from that. Goes hand in hand with what I said. Immaturity, unprofessionalism, and the inability to recognize and make peace with your own limitations. Maybe this is just me being crusty, but I get annoyed so easily by immature people whining about unfollows and low CCV, and not doing a goddamn thing about it. You have people who abuse their platform, then just rebrand or re-debut to escape it. We hold each other accountable for the wrong things and pretend like the emotional manipulation of bigger creators is okay because the victims should have known better. Too big to be called a community now. It's a toxic fandom. That said, I think it's people thinking if they mimic something that worked for someone else, getting salty when it doesn't work for them. People faking behavior, drama chasers, people creating drama over how someone's model looks. One thing I see a lot lately, I hate the most, is the "oh my god, 3 people unfollowed me today, what did I do? I guess I'll just quit." What the fuck? I'd hate to see how they respond if they get bigger and a few dozen people unfollowed over a hot take. That's D. Lots of adjacency with pedophiles and other such things due to reliance on anime culture. Too many people caring about oversaturation of the market or too much competition. Some say if you're not going for professional quality, then don't even bother. But it's like, maybe let streamers play with their virtual dolls / virtual paper dolls. The hustle culture too. Parasocial relationships. And I mean the streamer getting too attached to their viewers. People seem to feel owed a following here. They complain about losing a couple viewers as if the viewer is obligated to stay after trigger venting posts, hiatuses, or content changes. Honestly, VTubers who shame others for unfollowing after they just went on a big vent rant all over the timeline, or maybe took a month or 2 off, are just so annoying. Followers want to see your content. They don't owe you shit. The idea that you have to be in a VTuber group in order to do well or have quality work. If you want to be in a group, that's okay, but don't feel like you have to because you're doing stuff on your own that you could be doing as well. The idea that you have to be in a VTuber group in order to do well or have quality work. If you want to be in a group, that's okay, but don't feel like you have to because doing stuff on your own can be good as well. That's VTuber here. Vtubing is a fandom with fandom problems in many aspects, stemming from the fact that people don't see VTubers as people behind the characters. Objectification is a big issue. The lynch mob mentality when a VTuber doesn't do what the fandom demands is atrocious. I was never on the receiving end of it, neither were any of my friends. But you saw the toxicity through all the Twitter and Reddit threads and YouTube gossip videos. I have seen so much complaining about not growing within the community and complaining about seeing others grow even faster than you. Some people really put in the time and work that you don't see on streams or on social media. You have a right to be upset if you're spending countless hours improving yourself and your content. If you really want to make something out of VTubing, whether it's new skills or making new friends with similar interests, it's not about numbers unless it's your job, or you plan to make it one. There's been an underlying sense of if you're not a 2D VTuber, then you're not a real VTuber. What exactly defines a VTuber? Is it not simply using a virtual avatar to represent someone? If so, then why is 3D or PNG streamers any different than 2D? I will always stand by the fact that Annoying Orange is and was a VTuber. What's wrong with the English VTuber community? It's obvious. The writing has been on the wall this whole time. We forgot our roots. Middle America. Grandma and our old-timey values. Back when she could have a nice dinner and go to the cinema to watch a classy porno with her gal pals. The community is very white-centric, leans towards super horny on main, anime crossover, invites pedos lowly fans, and has an obsession with trying to avoid drama when it is used as a cover for abusers. So like almost any RP community, but with VTubers. Horny on main is a big one. I actually don't like doing ala ala, but I also feel forced because people want to see it. It seems like my most interactive shitposts are ones that are lewd, or when I poke fun at horny on main. I just want to be funny. To me, people and their feelings over trivial disagreements. Not taking accountability for fucking up and making mistakes. We all mess up. It's part of being human. We admit it and get better. Being dragged on a cheese grater for not having the same beliefs as everyone else. Twitter is the issue. The fact that people ping you with labels even if you did nothing wrong. For example, I was called a cloud chaser for quite literally existing as a content creator. Dancing. Oversaturated market, to be honest. Probably gatekeeping, as with most things, as we've already seen with people aggressively reacting towards cover v shoujo collab plans, intergroup branch hostility among fans, whereas the VTubers themselves get along fine, elitism towards newcomers, that kind of thing. The subtweeting and pettiness has got to go. I'm not seeing it from everyone, but I see it often enough where people stare daggers at other VTubers because of this underlying assumption that everyone is trying to use everyone. Anyone who's not me is clout chasing, basically. The fact that there's an accusation, Google Doc confession, Twitch longer, huge drama thing every fucking day. The overly sexual nature of the community, that with people not knowing how to communicate what they feel towards one another leads to crazy stupid drama and abuse cases. This is just why I'm seeing it though. The VTubers that expect to get big in one stream and lose their mind when they don't. Fake. Tribalism. People being more focused on what they are as opposed to who they are. Friendships being more fragile than a wine glass. Lack of general professionalism. High school mentality. I could go on forever. In general, and yes, I see the irony in this, it's all very fake. I might be completely oblivious to the problem. Community to me in this case is a catch-all for those being involved with English VTubing. The English VTubing thing is just a way to make it easier to find them, not the community as a whole. Problems are more case-by-case situations. My only problem is how expensive model commissions are, but I understand why they are so expensive. Personally, I feel like follow for follow is a no-no. Also, people begging for likes. It just sets yourself up for disappointment. People with thousands of followers on Twitter, and yet they only have 13 people or so watching. Maybe it's just ignorant or understanding something wrong. I've stayed in my corner minding my own business. which is something I've done all my life because every time I do come out of my shell and talk to other people, they quit streaming or end up being manipulative as fuck while pretending to be supportive and nice. I'd say what is, but I don't think Twitter has enough characters for me to write a whole essay. All I'll say is, be careful of the VTubers you're following. Many of those people are manipulative. Hi everybody. Thank you so much for making it to the not end of the video, but like the end of the meat of the video, I suppose. Things have been hard for us. Continuously. Anyone who's been keeping score knows that we've been terribly behind on our essays. If you only look at us through our YouTube content, you may be wondering why we don't post a lot. Social media is definitely bore into our brain and made us feel like if we don't make something phenomenal, then we might as well not post it. And we're trying to get over that feeling because it's been really slowing us down, because on top of wanting to do essay stuff, we also want to keep posting Let's Plays and stuff. And we don't want to post all of them to our alternate channel because we want folks here to see some of what we're doing. And of course, some of the sillier videos or dubs are still a priority for us, but just a much lower one. We have a number of essays on the horizon, if you are wondering, though we have no idea when any of them will be completed. Although we do have one that we think will be done by Halloween, we hope. I won't bore you with the details. So I'll leave any comments on that in my description. Though I do want to talk about VTubering just a little bit more because, well, this video wasn't as much about us as most of our other videos are, in the sense that when we do an essay, we tend to, try to convince you of something or try to share feelings and experiences with you so you can get a broader understanding of a topic. However, when we saw this thread on Twitter, it was just almost transcendent. Actually, there was a shape of an essay around it. There were so many tweets that we really wanted to comment on directly. Like, honestly, in the moment, if we had replied to the tweets that we were interested in that thread, we would have done like 20 replies. But that's a lot of spoons. And so is this. But more people watch our YouTube channel than look at our tweets. And so the age-old content creator dilemma comes up. How do I get people to see it? And the funny thing was, we were gonna do an essay, but because we seem to have a love language of essays, whenever we come into a topic that either intellectually or emotionally resonates with us, we want to write an essay about it. Some people get overwhelmed and burst into song. We get overwhelmed and burst into essay. But we thought about all the opinions and all the thoughts that were shared through the thread, and we thought that it was important for people to see a lot of that instead of just our opinions on them. And we have opinions on VTuberness in spades. Last year, around this time, we did release a video. On Halloween, that will be my VTubing anniversary. It's kind of a big deal for such a little bite. But all that being said, we still are existing in this weird parasocial bubble. And we try our best to deal with it. But especially lately, it's been rather hard. And some of the more cryptic parts of being a VTuber have found its way into our life. We have been very close to someone who's a VTuber who always speaks very downtroddenly about their experience in VTubing, and I thought it was a reflection of their mental illness as well. And I think that obviously mine is too. A person's a complete person, after all. However, I thought that maybe some of it was inflated by their depression. And then looking through this thread, I saw a lot of people expressing a lot of the same sentiments. And it dawned on me of just how depressing a job VTubing can be. Also, on top of that, how people can come to define themselves by their communities. And if they aren't thriving, or they don't feel noticed or valued in their community, they feel bad. And just like any other content creator community, VTubers are vast and diverse and are all under the influence of, well, capitalism. I mean, even hobbyist VTubers still have to exist on a platform that idolizes the cream of the crop. And if you're interacting with other VTubers, you're probably going to at least have some of that in your face. We really want to do another video about VTubing, and we actually have a video about not just VTubing, but a few other things that we want to do before the end of the year. That this video actually had nothing to do with, but this video does at least make my scales feel a little bit more at rest. Especially because we haven't released any edited content on our channel this month, and we want to really get back into the swing of things, because in a way it feels like we've been at least on YouTube hiatus, because we've just had a lot of trouble getting back on the horse, as it were, because it's a lot of pressure to make content consistently, and we do this for our livelihood, so we have to keep it up, which is part of the reason why essays have been so slow as well, because we obviously want it to be good, and we tend to take our time with them. We tend to be, at least to some degree, happy about the end result. And so, that being said, we still need to keep content coming out, though we don't want to just churn stuff out that we don't have a passion for. So when the feeling struck us, we did it. Feels good to get some workout. We appreciate all the love and support. Being a VTuber has definitely defined us a lot. And I think that we came into it just at the right time. Content creation in general, I would say that as well, but VTubing has definitely like salvaged our self-esteem and sense of personhood, for sure. And we can't, in good conscience, tell someone, yeah, you should totally be a VTuber. But at the same time, it has done a lot for us, even though it does hurt us as well. And we have been spending a lot of time on Twitch. If you haven't seen us and been wondering where we are, we have been really active on Twitch. We stream 3 days a week now. One of those days a week is mostly for doing stuff that we need to do, like writing or editing essays. We've been trying to put our workload. We've been trying to have a workload that allows us the freedom to create content, but also work slowly on the stuff that we know isn't super conducive to a weekly release schedule. It feels like I'm weaving in and out of the topic of what's going on with us and why does this video exist? Essentially, we made this video for people to be able to see what VTubers were saying about their own communities. We think that that is important, and we think that especially with how Twitter works and how the internet works with attention, that a lot of people who might gain a lot from seeing the thread would never read it. So we decided to read it for you, like a bedtime story. We're so thoughtful. And so, as this video comes to a close, we invite you to meditate on not VTubing per se, but idol worship and parasocial relationships, and what you expect from the content creators that you feel so close to, because this isn't just a VTuber problem. As Dust said at the top of the video, not every tweet that we showed we agree with. Actually, there are quite a few that we'd love to have a conversation with the poster about, but that also takes spoons and energy. So yeah, that happened. There's always the pull between being authentic and doing the things that I'm supposed to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. We have a Patreon and a Ko-fi. Like I said, this pays our bills. We're also terribly disabled with invisible disabilities, and we sure appreciate any help we can get. Even if you can't, we do really appreciate you sharing the video. It means a lot to us. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones if you can. It's a scary world out there, but we believe in you, okay? See you next time. This has been Drizzlebyte.
I am not a doll. 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 I am not a doll.
Hey everybody, this is Thornbite. I use she, they, and they pronouns. I am not a doll. I mean Drizzle. I'm not Drizzle. I'm Thorn. We are the same species though. Nice to meet you. I'm here to tell you about the patrons that helped us make this video. Dino King 23, R2 Walker, the Nova System, the Corin System, Joystick, Tin Lufu, and finally, and Valued Customer. All help make this video happen. If you would like to be like these wonderful patrons and support the Fluffbyte Entertainment System, you can go to this place and you can give me money if you want. But please, don't do it if it hurts you. Thanks.
I am not a doll.
Twitter essay about the problems with the English VTuber community. The quoted tweet is my jumping off point. I had a lot to say. I hope it helps folks empathize with VTubers more. VTubers' ubiquitousness may seem to some as more and more general idoldom being flattened because being a VTuber is commonplace, but nevertheless, it's larger than life probably because it's the most accessible idoldom there is. Not being seen as a person because you're a model is alienating and creates a new dimension to the parasocial dynamic, but live content and Discord communities make the lines even more gray, while the average VTuber is themselves struggling with balancing fantasy and reality for themselves and their audience. Even if you are a VTuber who's not a character, you're not exactly safe from the aggrandizement. That's particularly because of the relative fandom VTubers are sequestered in. Anime fandom. People have wanted to be anime characters for such a long time, and it can be a dream come true for VTubers to finally get a model and feel like they can be a self they choose, or someone else entirely. And there is freedom in that. But, because so many of us, VTubers and those that watch them, have dreamed of being both important and inspiring, not unlike their favorite animated character, or having a senpai, or a waifu that was 2D, but was almost real. I say almost because the idol worship of VTubers at large is a pillar of the prevailing culture, and so, for many, VTubers are more real than a character in a visual novel, but not real enough to have their own agency. The sexualization aspect is rampant, and I know of VTubers who privately feel that they are locked in a place appealing to a sex-crazed audience that they would love to be different, but unfortunately pays their bills, and gives them clout. So they can't. And I know clout is a dirty word. Anyone who wants it is often framed as someone willing to attain it by any means, or is vain and shallow. But attention currency is how content creators survive. People watching you, retweeting you, and or sharing your content is how you get all the things VTubers, and of course the average streamer, is supposed to want. Especially if you don't do this as a hobby, or want to go full time eventually. Clout can equal freedom and choice, and more insidiously, people are agreeing with you just on the nature of you being you. It's okay for VTubers to want validation, but even for smaller VTubers, a cult of personality can form. Also, the Discord is basically a cult of personality around y'all, so... I mean, we try for it not to be completely. I mean, I will not deny that there are self-indulgent parts of it, and I think that's okay. It's like coming over to our house. But like how Drizzle restructured the Discord, I think is really indicative of like... Okay, so for the first time ever, I'm showing a fucking Discord. Oh wait, that's not... Maybe that's not the right, let's see. Let's go to, what's in general? That's in general. That's safe for work. That's safe for work. Hell. For the first time on stream ever, I am showing the Discord. Why am I showing the Discord? I am showing you how, cause I actually... Low-key, I'm not mad, but like, I low-key resent that. We're trying so hard not to be a cult of personality. We're trying so hard to check our privilege as a creator. So hard, I promise. So, hey stream. So like, okay. So this is the bottom. We have Phantom Refuge. That's at the very bottom. That's like all the junk. Well, I shouldn't call it junk. It's all the special interest stuff that's accumulated. It's like, ooh, we're really into that stuff. If you want to post something about this, post it here so we can see it. I should be paying attention to, or I need to look at some essays, or like, oh, I remember there was an essay about something that someone recommended. Like, we definitely use that as a tool and a resource for us. So this is for everyone, really. There's some of these that we do use extensively, like sharing essays and video essays. We literally use that as a place to like go to of like, okay, what are essays I should be paying attention to? Talking about incontinence and sexuality and being neurodivergent. We created Mills Tent so people could exist and express their maleness. Mill Tent isn't for me. Whoever is interested usually is the one that posts it, so you know Drizzlebyte wanted to play Endless Blue, even though Thornbyte was the one who played it. And you can see that she agrees with Drizzle. Like, you can see what games we're paying attention to, but also there's the pressure of, oh, do you want to give Fluff a game? Here is a list of games Fluff probably wants. Or, I want to get Fluff to play a game. Let me see what Fluff is interested in playing, and maybe I can get Fluff to play a game. Someone posting it could be like, hey, Fluff, I thought that you might be interested in this game. That's pretty close to the cult of personality thing. We use clips for all sorts of things, like videos and stuff. We use it for our just starting screen now. That's free work. If you clip for us, that's literally free work. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I don't pay you. I wish I could pay my mods. Some streamers pay their mods. Did you know that? Like, we're going more toward the top. This is like going to the layers of hell. So Drizzle told me that she set this up how she would want people to see it as it comes up. So at the top, now you can see it because you can't normally see it. We have moderation. We have stuff for the mod team. Then we have the landing strip. This is where someone comes in. It's like, you just got here. This is the stuff you need to see. This is the stuff you really need to see. And then talkies. This is like different kinds of... This is a dream journal. We have not journaled here. We do enjoy seeing other people's dreams. And at this point, I'm not even trying to prove that we don't have a cultural personality. This is just fun, and I like being kind of like, and this is my kingdom. And like, you're like, oh, you're like the czar of this thingy. And it's just like, I don't feel like it. A cult of personality can form, and it's easy to get buried in your own hype, which, if you do, can alienate you more. Even VTubers who aren't sexualized face problems of relation to and not being idolized by their audience. Either way, I tend to think VTubers to a lot of their viewers become pets. The feeling of ownership feels a lot like it. Especially with how regular live content seeks to bore you into your viewers' routine. I mean, that's one reason why VTubers hate missing their streams for life stuff. Because if you don't stream for long enough, sometimes even a week, you aren't in folks' minds anymore. You're forgotten. Or even more likely, replaced. Because there's always a VTuber streaming. I mean, have you seen us? We're fucking everywhere! We see a new debut announcement every week. VTubers are challenged with being more and more unique, eye-catching, sexy, or overwhelmingly clippable the greater fandom grows. It's hard to be excited when tapped into it as a person only has so much attention, and VTubers are supposed to get into your weekly routine. If you yourself are a VTuber, your schedule is probably a nightmare, so in many cases, you can't really celebrate or explore our vibrant community unless it fulfills another purpose, like networking, collab fishing, or sussing out the competition. And it is a competition, but it is a free-for-all, because there are a finite amount of people. And streaming has long been oversaturated with more broadcasters than viewers, so it's hard to compartmentalize the unity part of our community. Because, under capitalism, growth is what matters. And even if you do this for a hobby, you're not immune to the grind since you still have great expectations thrust upon you. Though I think VTubers who are not full-time or whatnot are highly valuable for the community. We've been VTubing for a year this Halloween, and it's still weird to see how much we've gleaned about the community coming in, and we still continue to have trouble mitigating all that comes with it, even though we had informed consent. We knew about the idoldom, the sexualization, the alienation, but we still feel up to our nose hairs in it. These are relevant, ongoing discussions, especially as the state of the English VTuber community changes. And, as we hope, encourage more media maturity with other communities and with ourselves. Thornbyte.